So today I'm going to do a quick flip through of my bullet journal just so you can all see my progression and to update you all on how I've been doing with it. So I use a large squared moleskin in black and I've been really happy with it. I started bullet journaling March of 2015, so it's been nearly a year at this point, and I've used up about half of my notebook. So on the very first page I have my key. I have all of the icons and the status of task boxes as well as my color key, and I've kept all of these very consistent throughout the year. I haven't changed much at all within this context. On the next page I have my index, and I find I've never really flipped back and forth to my index to check for page numbers, and so in my next bullet journal I most likely will not keep an index just because it isn't very useful for me. Here's my very first daily page. So if I flip forward a little bit, these are the daily pages of September of last year. And so you can see I've definitely kept my color coding system very consistent, and I'm not very decorative at this point. But in about December of 2015 is when I started becoming more in love with changing up the style of my bullet journaling and kind of customizing it to what I needed. So for these 2 weeks of winter break, I didn't have a lot going on, so I decided to experiment and I made these 2 weekly spreads. I did a video on both of these in my channel a couple months back, which you can find linked above. And I just love how simple and functional these were for me, and I will definitely do those again soon. Next, I have my January monthly calendar spread, and so I found that making these monthly spreads is super useful, so I've tabbed it with a green post-it page flag, and I plan to do one of these every month just because they've worked so well for me. Next, I have 2 business cards taped in from a vacation. I have a little checklist for December 25th. These next 2 pages you've definitely seen before in my New Year's video. I have my New Year's resolutions page, and you can see I've already checked off a couple tasks for those bigger goals. And so this spread has worked really well for me. However, on the next page is my habit tracker for January. I have a bunch of habits written on the bottom over here, as well as all of the days of the month of January listed horizontally at the top over there. And I found that the habit tracker was a huge fail for me because I actually forgot I had it, and so I didn't go back and forth to it every day to check on my progress and to continually make sure I was tracking all of the things I was supposed to. So I have not made a habit tracker since then. And I mean, the thing about bullet journaling is that you can decide what works for you and what doesn't, and you aren't forced to stick to a specific system every month. So then here I have a little 2015 reflection, and on this next page I have an inspiration page with all of these quotes that have really stuck with me, or quotes that I think would lift me up if I was having a bad day, so I can just flip to this page real quick and get a little boost of motivation. So that's really helpful to have. Next I have these 2 pages with some planner icons. It was a little planner icon challenge that I found on Instagram, and it was just a lot of fun, something to do while I was on vacation. And then my next page is a large checklist for a huge project I had to do for my English class. I had to write an entire 1-act play, so I decided to be sure I was successful by putting down a big checklist of everything I was going to be graded on. And then next to that here I have a tracker for my period for the entire year. Next I have my first weekly/daily spread of January. So here I started using the Muji sticky notes, both the page flags here along with the weekly calendar one. And I find that this is super useful because I can easily flip back to my monthly calendar and see what's going on a specific week, and copy down major events in this weekly sticky note, so that way I can easily see what's going on at a glance while I'm filling out my daily tasks. Next spread is my level 10 life. And so here I think it's super useful. This is one of my favorite spreads I've ever done, I think, because it's such a visual representation of my goals and what I'm thinking about right now and how I just feel in my life in different categories. So this is something that is incredibly useful and I absolutely love it. Next, I have another type of project I had to do for English. I had to write a 7-minute oratory. So here I had some brainstorming through a mind map, and on this next page I had a checklist for the entire project. I did finish the project, but I forgot to check off all these boxes. Next, I have some more dailies and where I've used more of these page flags. On this next 2 pages, I have another week of January with some extra decoration of these sticky notes, and I find that's useful to have all of my long-term priorities and goals separate from the rest of my tasks just because it gives them more importance, so I've begun doing that. Next, I have another week. It was cut short by some snow, so I decided to have some fun by making this cute little weekend spread. Then next I have my February calendar. So this followed the same style as my January one, and I've even included the little green post-it note. And so you guys saw me create this one in my monthly spread calendar in my bullet journal. And so the next I have this February reflection, journaling kind of summary, and I absolutely love how this has worked out for me because I'm able to see all of my goals, important things coming up, things to look forward to, a reflection of January, along with some of my favorite things at the time. So this is something I think I'm going to do every month from now on, and I've just really liked having both the calendar for everything I have to do that month, along with some extra journaling and reflection over here. Next, I was preparing for a big audition, so I tried to follow a similar formula as my level 10 life spread, just by tracking the different areas I was going to be auditioning on. And this worked out really, really well for me, and I ended up doing really well, which was nice. So then I have another weekly spread. I started using these little music notepad papers that my mom got me that are absolutely adorable. Next, I taped in a card along with another couple days in my dailies. Here's another week. I've again started putting a weekly focus with priorities and goals over here, along with my week at a glance and some musical washi tape down here. And then I have some more dailies along with a little weekend checklist just because I had so much going on. I just wanted to kind of separate it and make a big list about it. Then next I have February 14th, which was Valentine's Day, and so I decided to transfer a couple of the items I didn't really complete onto the spread over here. And then I have another week over here with the same weekly sticky note and some extra reminders over here. Next I have a checklist of stuff I wanted to complete and or just a reminder of different things for my audition that was coming up. Then I have some course selection stuff for next year. I have a weekend spread over here along with some days of the week on this side. Then I have some more days of last week and a blank page which I will eventually fill out. Next, I have my March calendar. So this one again has the green sticky tab, and I have followed a similar format to my February and January ones. And so then after that, I have left space for the little reflection summary goals page that I did for February. And then we have today, where I am going to start filling out my tasks for the week, and I've already laid out my sticky note for the entire week as well. So that's everything in my journal so far, and I can't wait to see what else I end up doing with it. And if you guys have any suggestions for different pages or collections, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always looking for extra inspiration, or I'm just curious to see what you guys do with your bullet journals. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'll be posting new videos every Wednesday, and definitely be sure to check out my 8Tracks, Tumblr, and Instagram accounts because I post new content regularly in all three. Bye guys!